Time now for our review of the French press, for which I'm joined by Florence Villemino. Hello to you, Flo. Starting off with President Hollande's visit to China.
That's right. And Libération, the left-leaning newspaper, says that it's really going to be a slap in the face to human rights activists. And on their front page, they have a photo of Ai Weiwei, so the famous Chinese opposition figure and artist. And the title there says, "The Silences of Hollande," so plural for the word silence, because this controversial visit to China comes on the heels of other controversial visits to other countries that have a shady track record with respect to human rights, and that's Russia and Algeria. Now, in Libération, they point out that like his predecessors, during this visit, Hollande is going to keep quiet about human rights, and the official pretext for this is, first of all, the effectiveness of diplomacy. France doesn't want to ruffle China's feathers, but also the priority that the government is giving to the economy and any kind of lucrative deals that France wants to carry out with China. And Libération points out that, well, France is not the only country to suck up to China because China is the second biggest economy. Other countries do as well, and this comforts China in its authoritarianism. And the truth is, China's a democracy, not a democracy, a dictatorship, according to Libération.
We saw him on the front cover of Libération there, Ai Weiwei, the artist.
That's right. And Libération looks at other high-profile opposition figures in China today. For instance, there's Liu Xiaobao, so a writer who was actually won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2010. He's on the top there. Now, in 2009, he was sentenced to 11 years in jail for calling for democratic change. On the bottom left there, you see a woman, Ni Yuluan. She's a human rights lawyer who's been in a wheelchair since she was beat up by police in 2002. She's also in jail. But Libération points out that these are just the high-profile cases. In their editorial, they say that Hollande is actually going to visit a massive prison, and that's China. China is a massive prison, according to Libération. And they say that Hollande is wrong to remain silent about these human rights abuses, because how can France be calling for freedom in Syria, for instance, when it's not doing so in China?
From communists in China to communists here in France, who've had a bill refused.
That's right. That's on the front page of Les Echos, the business paper that says that Hollande says no to an amnesty for social conflict. Now, what is this amnesty? This is a bill that the communist MPs were trying to push through Parliament that would give a legal amnesty to anybody who was sentenced to under 5 years in jail for what they call social conflicts. So basically anybody who was involved in vandalism during demonstrations or sit-ins. So the communists were really eager to push this through. The government has said that it's clearly and firmly opposed to any such amnesty. And so this is sending a reassuring message to big business owners, because they had said that this would give impunity to what they say are hooligans. But Les Echos points out that this has really upset the far left, who see this as a betrayal on behalf of the government. In fact, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, the leader of the far left party, said it was like getting a knife in your back. And Les Echos says, well, this really marks the divorce between the far left and socialists after a kind of honeymoon period after Hollande's election a year ago. Little by little, the far left has slipped into the opposition, and this could be bad for the socialists in the upcoming municipal elections.
Okay, Le Figaro next, also focusing on social and economic issues.
That's right. They're looking at France's flailing big industries and say that, well, reality is catching up with Hollande. So we've seen in recent months big pillars of France's industry come crashing down. For instance, Peugeot, Citroën, PSA, they're going to close one of their big factories. In their editorial, Le Figaro says that after months of promises, the government finally has to face some music and really make reforms that will make French industries more competitive.
Very quickly, an unusual drugs bust.
That's right. This is in Aujourd'hui en France. A ring has been busted, and they were basically, smuggling drugs in a homemade torpedo from basically smuggling drugs from South America to Europe. It was police in Nice who tracked this gang down. Apparently, they'd been smuggling drugs this way for a couple of years, about every 6 months.
Florence Villemino, thanks very much for that roundup of the French press.